This is how white people built their wealth in South Africa.
In the 19th century, took their land and destroyed or stole their cattle. They were only allowed back onto their original lands to work for the whites, and their children die in the Bantustans for lack of milk. The wealth of the white farmers is built on the availability of cheap black labor. These men are cutting sugarcane near Durban. They start at 4 in the morning, they work 6 days a week, their pay is under 5p an hour, £2.20 a week. If you're born black, you start working young. This boy is 12. Foreign companies own a major share of every industry in South Africa. Agriculture is no exception. This estate is owned by the British firm Tate & Lyle. Another British company, the Slater Walker Group, also has substantial interests in the sugar industry. Furthermore, the United States subsidizes the white sugar farmers by guaranteeing to buy a fixed quota of their annual crop. This is the typical home of a sugar farmer. And these are the quarters of his laborers. 8 men share this room. The discovery of gold transformed South Africa from an agricultural country into an advanced industrialized state. And it's the gold mines that have set the pattern for the inequality between white and black in industry. For the 400,000 black miners have never seen the wealth that's been created by the gold they mine. They have to work up to 3 miles underground in intense heat and humidity. The work is extremely dangerous, especially for the black miners. 18,000 of them have died in the gold mines in the last 30 years, an average of 3 deaths per shift. By law, miners aren't allowed to work more than 48 hours a week, but the black miners spend 60 hours every week underground. Their reward is 7p an hour, £4 a week. The white miners earn 16 times as much. The mining companies keep the blacks in compounds around the mines at a cost of £8 a year each. Here the miners are queuing for their daily food. It costs the companies 9p a day per miner. Meanwhile, white South Africa gets richer and richer. She has more cars, telephones, fridges, cameras than any nation in Europe. In fact, she has more of every household goods except vacuum cleaners, because of the availability of cheap servants. For the coloureds, the Cape Flats, a barren piece of wilderness of sand and high winds, 20 miles outside Cape Town. It's been set aside for coloured occupation. Many of the coloured families thrown out of Cape Town have joined the 40,000 coloured families already without housing in the area. For them, the desolation of a shanty town. There is a rigid colour bar in all industries. No black is allowed to hold a position higher than a white. But the system of job reservation goes further and reserves all so-called skilled work for whites. The whites call it their civilized labour policy. Dr. Verwoerd, the last Prime Minister, was very explicit about the position of black workers.
There is no place for him in the European community above the level of certain forms of labour.
The rigid colour bar is the basis for the inequality in the wages paid to black and white. The average income for a white family of 5 is £60 a week. For a black family of 5, it's £4.50 a week. And the gap has widened over the last 10 years. Under the master and servant laws, a black in many industries can go to jail for being absent from work, for trying to change his job before his contract expires, or for refusing to obey a command. Furthermore, black trade unions aren't recognized, and nearly all strikes are illegal. In fact, black workers have no protection under the law. As Dr. Kernhoff said while Minister for Bantu Affairs,
African males from the homelands have no rights whatsoever in South Africa. They are only in South Africa to sell their labour.
The cheap labour system depends upon the government control of the movement of the blacks. This is exercised through the pass laws. All blacks over the age of 16 must carry a pass book stating the one area where he or she is permitted to live and the type of work he or she is permitted to do. Failure to produce your pass book on demand, lack of necessary permits or incorrect entries mean immediate arrest. In the towns, theatres, cinemas, hotels and restaurants are for whites only. There are no facilities for blacks. At lunchtime, the takeaway counter and the pavement are the blacks' only choice. This home is in a suburb of Johannesburg. 3 servants work and live here. They earn £2.40 a week. They're on call 24 hours of the day, 6 days a week. Their families are forbidden to stay with them here, for this is a white area. The servants' rooms are in the backyard and by law have to be separated from the house. Mrs. Gertrude Mbata has been a servant since the age of 15. Her husband lives 30 miles away in Soweto. She sees him once a week on her day off. She works so that they can pay for their 4 children to go to school. Since her children are forbidden to stay with her here, she's sent them 300 miles away to a relative in the Bantustans. She's lucky if she can see them once a year. Mrs. Ayanti Nkosi looks after Melissa. She's one daughter of her own. Her only son died from malnutrition.
What can you do outside the